it's your national Caterina Harris Earl, and I am teaching you one of the things that is so important. This is a skill. You know, I teach you that there are tips and then there are techniques. There's skill and then there's technique. The skill is you must master getting leads. You have to master getting leads. And I talk to you about the frank list, friends, relatives, associates, neighbors, kids, and church and people you pay regularly. And then I talk about the NFL club, what happens when there's no friends left. And I have taught for years the importance of having 5 different referral sources. You know, getting referrals from your parties, getting referrals from warm chatter. But in addition to that, getting referrals from working expos and booth events, and having lots of different ways of generating referrals. Maybe you purchase bridal leads or new homeowner leads. So there's so many ways that you can get referrals. I got great referrals from my hair salon and my nail salon coming up in Mary Kay. I made sure that I did business with people where I consistently got referrals. The challenge is, if you go to a skincare class and you walk out of a skincare class and you have 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 leads from that skincare class, you're working the zip code and you get 5 leads a day, and you are getting your customers to give you referrals, and you work a booth event and you get referrals. When you do that, oh my gosh, you have a lot of names. And how do you follow up on all those names? Well, I'm going to teach you about this lead system. And this is on my website, caterinaharrisearl.com. It is on the area documents website, the area documents link on the homepage of my website. And you go in there and you click on training handouts and you click on basic training, because this is part of the essentials that you want to master. And then you go into the booking section and you'll see a whole folder that's leads, okay? And in there you're going to see this. Now, I can't take credit for this. One of my A-team directors, Brenda Valley, put this together. And so I literally just copied it. I am very detailed. Brenda is extremely detailed. She ran Fortune 100 companies. And so she's extremely detailed. You're going to notice that there's a lot of detail in here. If you love the detail, you're going to go, ah! And if you don't like the detail, then you'll just be able to use it in the basic way that I'm going to show you. But there is an instruction sheet that walks through the whole lead system, why she uses it, how she uses it, what all of the things mean on the form. So this is the first thing you're going to want to print out, or at least take a look at. Then you're going to want to grab this lead sheet. Now, you print them out like this on regular paper, and you're going to cut them in half, okay? And I'll explain what this is. And then you're going to see me refer to these different tabs. Now, these are on there on the website, but you'll print these out. I like printing them on cardstock. Remember, you can go to FedEx Kinko's, and with our Mary Kay discount, it's really easy and inexpensive. Print them on cardstock, get them cut in half, and you're going to need the special hole punch for the binder that I'm going to show you. And then she's even gone so far as to give you the spine covers. So these are the 4 different binders you're going to want to get, okay? And so there is a binder that you're going to have for hot leads. There's a binder you're going to have for your target market. There's a binder you're going to have for customer profiles, and a binder you're going to have for customer birthdays. The one that I'm going to teach you today is about hot leads, okay? So I'm going to talk to you about how to work with your hot leads, okay? And then you're going to hear in other training us talk about the bubble sheet. I'm not going to train on the bubble sheet today, but this is a way of tracking your phone calls. This bubble sheet is normally on an 8x11 piece of paper, but for the purpose of this leads book, I have put them in that same folder in half, okay? And so if it makes you old, because this is so small, you could use the 8x11 sheet, and when you put them in the binder, just fold it in half, or you can actually use this and cut them in half that way, okay? So I have just selected 2 binders. This one, they're not open for me to put the spine cover in. It's up to you. You can either use the names on here, or you can just have different color binders, okay? I'm only going to talk today about actually the top 2 binders, the Hot Leads book and the Target Market book. Now, follow along with me. You go out and you warm chatter. You get leads. And it's the end of the day. And I got leads in lots of different ways. Let's say that I got this lead, and okay, this one is, he works for the Chicago Bears, and his wife is interested in Mary Kay. Can you see the Chicago Bears card? This one, I met at Menards in Chicago getting some goodies for the house. This is an executive from Nordstrom that I met. And it goes on and on and on because I always write on the back of the card. Like this one says that she came here from Yugoslavia in 2007. She has twins that are 5 months old. She's 34 weeks pregnant and has 1-year-old twins. Like, wow. So these are all the leads. A lot of people, what happens when they come home, they get these leads and they're like, what to do with them? What am I going to do with them? Oh my gosh. So it's like, what do I do with these leads? And how many of you can relate to these? They end up everywhere in your purse. They're on the floor. They're under the, they're under your bed, or they're just spread out all over your desk. How are you going to manage this? Well, if this is how many leads you got in a day, a week, a month, a year, easy to manage. But what happens if you get this many a day times 30 days, times 60 days, times 90 days? So what you do at the end of the day, if you have leads and some of them you stuck in your pocket, some of them you stuck in your smock at work, you stuck them in your purse, you come home and you just grab your hot leads book and you slide them right in here. Okay? And you put them in there and you go to bed. When it's time for you to make your booking calls, I'm encouraging you to do 1 hour of booking calls a day. Some of you are committed to doing 30 minutes, some 15 minutes. When I say 1 hour of booking calls a day, it doesn't even have to be a solid hour. I've always said never underestimate the power of 15 minutes. So even 1 hour, 1 solid hour, or 4 15 minutes, you could really go through a lot of leads. So you have the leads book and you put all of your leads in here. It's time to make your phone calls. When you go to make your phone call, what you're going to do is you're going to pull these out. You're sitting at your desk, keep in mind. Okay, it's a little awkward on the couch here. And then you're going to flip to the back of your leads binder. And in the back of your binder, you're going to have, just hang tight right there, you're going to have these sheets, these blank sheets cut in half. So imagine this. Imagine in the back of this binder, I have a bunch of these blank. You can either have them hole punched in here blank, or you can just have them sticking in here blank, okay? And so I get ready to call this woman, and I'm dialing. I'm dialing Melody. While I'm dialing Melody, I'm also writing her information on the lead sheet. Now, you'll have to refer to this, but really, there's a lot of information on here. I told you Brenda's very detailed, but really all I care about is what's on this card initially. Name. Generally, I don't get her address initially, her phone number, maybe her email, maybe where she works, a little bit of information about her. I can put that down here, where I met her, the date I met her. Sometimes I don't even write in the lines. I'm just writing it on there. It's just getting the information on the paper, okay? As I'm dialing, these are already hole punched. They're ready to go. I can be dialing at my desk, but I can also be dialing while you're waiting on the kids to get out of school. It can be anywhere, right? So you're going to take this leads sheet, and you are dialing, and every one of these cards gets a lead sheet. Now, some people might be tempted to say, I'm just going to tape this down. You can do that if you want to. What happens is you'd want to tape it only at the top so that you can flip it up, but what happens is it makes your book so much fatter, okay? So I have found that while you're dialing, it's plenty of time to just write this down. And then I just drop all my leads in a little recipe card box. I don't throw them away just in case I transposed a number or something. That's just me. And then I throw them away every, so often, right? Because I have them on here. And so what happens is you're calling these leads. Now, I actually skipped something and said something incorrectly. The way this leads book is designed is there are different tabs, and the tabs go in this order. They go in the order that are on these tabs that are prepared for you to print out. When you make your calls, this is the order of how I call people. The first people I would call would be someone who is a personal prospect. I met her at a party. She is a customer of mine. She's interested in Mary Kay, or I'm interested in recruiting her. Hopefully it's someone you facialed already. That is the first category in this leads book, okay? The second category only applies to directors. It's unit prospects. It's someone who came as a guest with one of my unit members, which I wouldn't have one of these. I would have one of those Millennium Woman forms or a guest profile, right? And it might be a full sheet. If it's a full sheet, I'm just kind of fold it in half and I hole punch it in here. The next category that you would call, this is the order of kind of importance when you make your booking calls. The next people I would call would be bookings on Datebook, people that I actually have a booking for. And every single person I have a booking for, guess what they have? They have one of those lead sheets. So, hold on, just put it right here. Every single person I have a booking for has a lead sheet, right? And so if I have some people booked on the 1st, the 5th, the 10th, the 13th, they're in this section in order, okay? The next category of people I would call would be reschedule callbacks, meaning she was here, she was booked, but she needed to reschedule her appointment. So if she needs to reschedule her appointment, I can just move this lead sheet right to this section. I'll tell you why I love this binder, because you can move the sheets where you need them to go, and the other thing you could do is you could rip them out of the book and throw them away, right? So far, guess what? We've called what? Personal prospects, unit prospects, bookings on Datebook, reschedule callbacks. Then the last two categories for this binder is current, hot, and new. Current, hot, and new. Those are people that I just met. I just met her at Starbucks. I just met her at church. I just met her in the parking lot at the car wash. Current, hot, new, okay? She came to me as a referral. She was on one of my tic-tac-toe sheets, and I haven't personally met her yet. Her name got entered into a fishbowl. Doesn't matter where you got her from. She's a David's Bridal lead. Current, hot, and new. The last category for this binder is customer service follow-up. 9 times out of 10, these are going to be profile cards, okay? These are going to be people that you facialed, but Mary Kay teaches us the 2 + 2 + 2. 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months. So after you sell her skincare, you follow up with her in 2 days, and then hopefully you're seeing her again in 2 weeks. So I'm going to talk about each of these categories. So what happens? I sit down, and it's time for me to make my booking calls. First, I flip to personal prospects. You'll see this book will end up being worked. You want it to work, and you can hold about 75 of these sheets per book. All right, so personal prospects, this is the first category. I would flip right here, and the first person I'm going to call is Lisa Marie. And this is someone who was my dog groomer, and Fletcher loved her, and so she's interested in Mary Kay. And on the back of this sheet, I would pretend that it was here. I would have all kinds of information about her, things I found out about her when I facialed her, things I know about her when I interviewed her. I have information on here, and I also keep notes, left message when I called her, okay? So you're working that. The next group that you're going to call is unit prospects. Again, this only is for directors, okay? So, and I'm trying to show you an example that even if this person was on a, if it was a guest profile, pretend this was a guest profile, you literally just fold it over, and I don't hole punch both of them. I hole punch the top one, and then I just fold it over kind of not quite even so that it fits in here. You with me? Okay? So everyone, if I got it on a guest profile, directors, I'm not going to then, you don't have to write it on here again, okay? The idea of this leads book is you just get rid of these little pieces of paper, okay? So unit prospects. The next category is bookings on Datebook. Again, what I explained is, this says, like this person was booked for February 9th. And I'm working from an old book to give you an example. This was February 9th, and I put down here that she was at Jenny's class and booked her own class. She's going to book on this day. She's interested in getting, coming on Monday night as well. She had watched a video. I had information on here, and as they start to give me their guest list, I write their list right here on the back, okay? In other words, you can see, because this book is hole punched, it can hold lots of information. These are all the people that I need to call for booking. Sometimes I even end up with really important people I need to follow up with, and I'll put a post-it note, okay? The next category was reschedule callbacks. Again, remember, these are people that rescheduled from the bookings. And so you can see an example of one that's really written on. This was a David's Bridal lead. She's having a small wedding. I put all the information, and these are all the people that I pre-profiled her, got their phone numbers, found out information about them, and so forth. Current, hot, and new. Again, these are people you just met. So when I get to this section, this is when I reach and pull all of these out, and now I start adding them in, because this is where the current, hot, and new people go, okay? And I just am dialing for dollars. After I've called her several times, some people want to know, how often do you call someone? 3 times, 4 times, 5 times. You know what? I really go with my gut. All leads are not created equal. One of the things you're going to find on Brenda's leads form is it has the quality of the lead. You rate my warm chatter rating, and there's 2 ratings. One rating is how she responded to me, and the other rating is what I thought of her. So if I have someone who responded to me really excited, and I was really excited about her, I may keep her lead longer than someone who's like a C, which means if she doesn't book after a couple times, she gets cut, okay? An A is absolutely, I want her, and a B is, yeah, but, okay? So all of that is on that instruction sheet. So this is current, hot, and new. These are people that you meet, and again, you see here's an example of one of the guest forms. I just have it hole punched in here. It doesn't matter how it comes. If it comes in the form of a tic-tac-toe sheet, doesn't matter. And then the last category, here's an example of my leads list I have right in here, just the Excel spreadsheet. The last category in this book is customer service follow-up. And this is an example of a profile card of someone who used to be booked. Someone who I booked to hold a party, and now she's in the follow-up. I'm following up to check on her skincare, and I'm going to work to coach her party. Now, if she just bought skincare, but she booked a party, guess what? She's not going to be under customer service follow-up. She's going to be under what? Bookings on Datebook. All right? So the bottom line is, when you work this book, this goes with you everywhere. You take this book with you everywhere. It goes with you everywhere. You're going to fall in love with it. Now, the other thing that I'm going to tell you is what you'll love about this book is when you're done working with this book, the name should move out of here after a month, certainly no longer than about 6 weeks. So what do you do after they come out of here? They go one of 2 places. They either go into your target market book, or they go into file 13. You know, that's the garbage can, right? So a lot of them will go in the garbage can. Wrong number, not interested, never called you back. You know, for whatever reason, she was a C, okay? So a lot of them might get thrown away. But what is this book for? This book is another thing that I like. I hope you're realizing that I like this because it's easy to move things around. If you're new to Mary Kay, you haven't had a system. But those of us that have been in Mary Kay a while, guess what? Our system has been where we have these large files of leads, and it's hard to move them around. So you might have the newest leads on top, and you forget to call the old leads, and you know, it just gets a little crazy. So this is cool. So this target market book, what is special about that one? Well, this book, again, you're going to create your own dividers, but I give you some to start with. This is broken up into an example. Priority and prior month local. These are people that are local to me, local to my home in Brentwood. That's where I am now, local to my home in Chicago. Prior month, Northern California. People I met from the prior month in Northern California. If you don't live in California, you get to change these. They're in a Word doc. You can change them and make them applicable. Prior month, Southern California. These are places I travel, especially when I was working as a director. Prior month, Central California. Prior month, out of state. Now, if it's a state you go to all the time, or an area you go to all the time, you're going to create, if you go to Vegas all the time, you're going to have one for Vegas, okay? If you go to Dallas all the time, I'm headed to Dallas, you're going to have one for Dallas. After that, you see target market. Target market, I'll explain what it means. These are leads that are possibly older, but they're really sharp leads. You guys, when you hear people's eye stories, you're going to hear people that have known their Mary Kay beauty consultant for 9 years, but maybe they never booked a facial with her. You know, I mean, you're going to hear some really crazy stories of people that held on to a lead. You don't hold on to all your leads. This is not to hold on to every lead, but what it is to do is if your husband travels to Indianapolis all the time, or your grandmother lives in New Orleans all the time, and you get leads in New Orleans, but you're there for 3 days this time, you're not going to get to book a party with that woman. But if you go for 3 days over Thanksgiving and you're going back at Christmas, or you're going back for a birthday in February, guess what? You may call those leads to attempt to sell them or book them, and then a month later, what do you do with the leads? You would move them to the prior month, New Orleans or the target market area. It means that you're holding on to those leads for that area. And when it's time for you to go back to Vegas, back to New Orleans, back to Indianapolis, you open it up, you flip to your, in this case, target market Chicago, okay? And I'm like, oh, I'm going to Chicago. And I might have 25 leads in here. I'm going to be there for 4 days for work, or I'm going to be there. So this is a system that could work for you, okay? I love it. I don't carry this one with me all the time. This one stays in my office. This one is attached like my hip. Wherever my cell phone and keys go, I have this with me because I never underestimate the power of 15 minutes. So that is my lead system, and I hope that you are excited about booking mini appointments. Happy booking!